Cool.
And then after this, I'm gonna go cook some steaks on the grill.
Awesome. What's
Yeah,
that? You sold your lake house?
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that today.
Okay.
I sent out over 1,000 pieces of. I hand wrote a letter. I don't do a lot of handwritten letters. I like postcards, but I did a handwritten letter to over 1,000 people. I didn't write I didn't write them out. I wrote it and then I gave it to Amanda and then they recreated it. But trying to buy more of them. So
Yeah. I just skip traced one here in Wisconsin and was trying to buy a lake house, and it had been sitting on the market for 488 days.
mhm.
Wow.
And the family lived in Chicago, had a downtown place, also lived in Arlington Heights, and they just decided to pull it off the market. The same thing because they're trying to leave the city now. They're just moving their whole family there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity. I'm going to try to, the lake house that I'm at, that I have, you can't have access to the lake at all unless you own property there. So it's very, very private. But the lake is really wealthy, and so a lot of fireworks shows got canceled this year for 4th of July all over the counties, all the cities and stuff. They canceled them all, but my lake still put on an amazing 1 hour fireworks show. It never seemed like it was going to end, and so there was people trying to get in, and they literally had cops blocking off the lake so you couldn't get into the property. But it's really expensive to be there, as far as the annual HOA fees and all that. But I like it. I like the fact. But what it is, one of the cool things is, if you own a lake lot, even if it doesn't matter. If you own property there, you have access. So they have these landlocked lots that you could never even get to. You wouldn't even be able to drive to them, but you can buy them. And if you buy that lot, you have access to the lake. So people are buying up lots too, like crazy, not building there and just having access to the lake. So I'm going to try to buy a whole bunch of lots and then resell them and wholesale them.
Will you look to stay on that same lake then, or no? Not
Yeah,
anymore?
no, I'm going to stay the same place. I'm going to stay the same place. And I haven't officially sold my lake house yet. I just mentioned it last week to a realtor, and she had people there that day.
Wow.
So, and they liked my lake house better than they looked at houses all day long, and they liked mine the best. So we'll see. I haven't really even done a whole lot with it. I would never sell it like that, probably, because if it's that easy, I'm probably giving up some cash. If I listed it, I could probably get more. So I want to talk about some of that stuff today. I don't know how big the group's going to be. We got Victor on, Ray's on, we got Robbie's on. That's it. So we got 5 of you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 of you guys. So Robbie, take a minute real quick. I got a kick out of our conversation. Take a minute real quick and just share your excitement on. So I got Ravi a VA. My team found the VA, interviewed the VAs, narrowed it down to the one we ended up hiring. Ravi just said, hey, here's what I want this VA to be able to do. My team then took that VA, trained the VA on every aspect with my training. And then Ravi was he watched the whole process happen and he was just blown away. So go ahead and you tell everybody what you told me.
Hey everyone. Well, I got a VA through Amanda and Hazel, and as Matt said, I was completely blown away with the simplicity of the process. You send an email within 15 minutes, you get a detailed answer about it. Any question you have, anything you want VA to do, to be trained on, it gets done right away. I mean, it looks so simple to ask a question and get a more detailed answer in such a simple manner, that everything seems so easy, which is I was kind of struggling with this thing for the last 3-4 months. And within 2 days, everything was gone. I have a clear picture in front of me, what I need to do, how I need to be done. And I was super amazing process, to be honest. And hats off to you, Matt, on this, to be honest. just to make that thing happen and make it so simple for people to get in, make get a VA, trained VA, and then get everything done so easy.
You know, and also too, you guys, just so you guys know, I didn't do a single part of it, right, Ravi? I didn't do anything. All I did was make the introductions and to my team and you, and they handled it from there. But it is pretty cool. But Ravi, one thing I want you to think about, you don't have to answer this right now. In fact, I don't even want you to answer it right now. But I'm always trying to improve my training, right? I want my training to be the best in the world. So think through some of the stuff that you saw my team do for you in that VA, and let's have a side conversation on what you saw and what they did that maybe I could incorporate in some of the other training, okay? I've been literally thinking about this for 2 days because it's like, man, my training is amazing. But then Ravi saw our team find and hire a VA, train them on all the aspects very, very quickly, right, Ravi? One week,
really fast.
In 1 week, we had this VA 0 to 100 miles an hour, plugged them in, and this VA is getting Ravi leads now every day, like start to finish, everything. So let's have a side conversation on that at another time, probably either tomorrow or maybe even Friday, and give me some insight on more and some of the stuff that I can add to my normal training, okay? And maybe I'll bring Amanda. I thought about having Hazel come on one of these and actually having her talk about it. Hazel's the VA that trains my VAs. I think that would be good too, because how would you guys like that? Like if I brought one of my VAs onto this Zoom, like and you'd be able to ask her questions and stuff?
Yes.
Would that help?
That would be
That would
awesome.
be really cool, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to do that then. So Ravi, we'll have a side conversation, but thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Okay, so what we're going to do, like today, guys, is I know our topic is going to be, locking down deals in a red hot market, but I've got a lot of different stuff I want to kind of run past you guys and teach you guys on. First of all, couple cool things. So with just the thing that I was talking to, with Ravi just a minute ago, I'm launching my VA service now where you can hire my team to hire a VA for you. We train the VA. There's a cost to it, of course. I got to pay Amanda to help. I got to pay Hazel and all the timing and all this. But that's something I'm going to be launching very, very soon. We've already done it for Ravi. We've done it for you. You know Steve Trang, right, Ravi? Steve Trang. Do you guys know Steve? He's a guy kind of like me. He has a big podcast. But Steve came to me and was like, dude, can you just hire my VAs for me? So we did. We've already hired 2 for him. Same deal. Like it's just super simple. And then I've hired a few more for a couple other friends. But I'm launching that. So just something to think about. You guys, my training's designed around you guys being able to find your own VAs and hand them off my training. Some people like a shortcut, so we can help. I've got a new book coming down the pipeline. I literally knocked this thing out yesterday. So I almost got a sore throat. So here's how I create a book really, really fast. So first of all, I'm very fast to action. Doesn't matter what I do in life. When I get an idea, boom, it's in action. It's gone. So I spent the whole day yesterday. Whenever I want to create a book, here's how I do it. You guys can do the same thing. It's not hard. It was funny in my mastermind group that I'm in, this high-level mastermind group with Mark Evans and Tim Bratz and Joe Evangelisti and some of these other guys. They think I'm like the most amazing implementer they've ever seen. And really I just have a great team. But what I do when I create a book, there's an app. I don't know if you guys can see this. See how it says Rev? It's a little blue app right there. It says Rev. I'll try to get it real close. So you guys see that?
Yes.
Rev is an app you can download. This is how you can get stuff done, training done, all this stuff. You hit the Rev button, you hit record, and you start talking, okay? And I literally yesterday, I broke out 60 different topics that I wanted to talk about in this book. There's like 60 or 62. And I talked them through. I just talked out loud what I wanted to teach. And then I hit pause after every single section. I hit pause, I hit submit, and it goes to Rev. And for like $1.50, $2, $3 per one, they send you back a a whole transcription of everything you just said. Now your words are in a document form in like 10 minutes. So I created 60, basically kind of like not 60 full chapters, but 60 sections all day long, sending them to Rev sending them back. And now I've got this whole compilation of all this information. And then I forwarded everything to Amanda, and then so it took me all day to get it done. Now Amanda's taken that information and creating it, the rest of the part to do this book. So this book is all my years of experience rehabbing houses. We've rehabbed, thousands of houses, and I created this book to teach all of the things that you should be doing to a house that creates the most amount of value with the least amount of cost, right? So if somebody can take this book and say, okay, I'm brand new, or I don't care if you have 5 or 10 years experience, I'm going to buy this house. I'm only going to do these things, and I'm going to get the maximum value out of flipping a house versus what I spend. So I'm coming out with that. That'll be done in the next week or so, thanks to people like Amanda. And then I'm rolling out my bank. For years and years and years, I've been really, really good at banks. Like, that's just one of my things. I've never done private money, really. I'm not good at private money. I kind of know how to raise private money, but it's not something I've ever done. But banking, I'm amazing at. I've had over 2,000 bank loans. I've done unsecured lines of credit. I've done stuff that I could give you guys terms in the banking world that I've learned through asking questions that you wouldn't even recognize. And it was funny, yesterday I was on the phone with a bank for somebody else, and literally like told the bank, like, I'm on the phone with a banker I've never met. And I'm like, okay, I want to set it up. First of all, the banker said, here's how we're going to do this. And I said, no, that's not going to work. I want to do it like this, and this. Let's try this. And I reworked the whole thing. And the banker at the end said, yeah, we can do that. So it was pretty cool. So I'm coming out with a whole bank program. We're talking about a 100-page book. We've got some of you guys have seen the other 2-hour stuff that I did here. Remember all the two trainings I did? I think most of you guys probably saw that. That's going to be in there. And then I'm doing next month, like here's the whole, this is all the business boardroom training that we did this month. Next month, every single Wednesday, I'm doing a training on banks. One day is going to be a full training on how to create your own PFS. You guys know what PFS is? Anybody?
Financial statement.
Yeah, your personal financial statement. I'm gonna teach people how to create that. Like I've got a template that I created 12 years ago. I want to show you guys how to do that. We're going to do a whole day on credit cards and how to make money from credit cards and do it the smart way. And then we're going to do one on how to get your banker to say yes. And there's one other section. So anyway, I've got that rolling out. The whole banking thing is I don't realize how good I am at banks because I don't really share the information. And I've just done it for myself for so many years that I don't really teach it a lot. And I don't realize some of the information and knowledge I have, and I don't really share it. So, and that's not on purpose. It's just I've never made it a priority, but it's valuable information that can help you. So I'm gonna come out with this program soon. So anyway, that's some of the cool stuff I've been working on. But I also wanted to talk to you guys today about the whole. Some of you guys saw my email about the whole lake house piece. So ever since COVID hit, now this is a real opportunity. You guys need to take advantage of this. This is easy money right now. Ever since COVID hit, all these families are no longer doing kids sports. Where I live, right down the street, probably I think it's 2 miles away, but it's right off the main road I live on. There's a thing called the Betplex. This Betplex was over $60 million. It's sitting vacant right now. It's just brand new built. Like, it is sitting vacant. These kids aren't able to play baseball. It's got outdoor baseball fields. It's got indoor soccer fields. All these families are trying. They really can't do kids sports anymore, or it's very limited. And so all these families are looking for something to do. They don't have anything to do, and people are just going crazy. They're not traveling. They're not flying. They're driving. They're driving within 4 to 6 hours of where they live for vacation. So think about that. Like, for example, Hans, for you, like places like the Wisconsin Dells, you know, I don't know how, that's not that far from you, but that place is going to blow. I mean, it's going to blow up. It's going to blow up because it has to. But some of those types of places and lake homes are going to blow up. My lake house that I bought for so I'll just share the numbers with you guys. I bought my lake house 2 years ago. It was originally listed at $375,000. Okay. It was on the market for 3 years. Okay. They were not selling. There was no demand. So I went down there, did my thing, and I ended up buying this house for $200,000. Okay. Now they had lowered it down to 275. I offered them 200 grand. This house was built in 1991. It's 17 steps from the water to my lake house. Okay. You guys probably seen, I do some pictures on Instagram sometimes, but the average house at the lake, I have this lake house, is 150 steps from your door to the water. I don't know about you guys, but when I bought my house, it's kind of weird because I just literally hurt my knee the other day doing squats and I'm having a hard time walking right now. But 2 years ago, when I bought my lake house, I had a knee injury and I couldn't walk steps very well. And so I was looking at these houses with 150, 200 steps. And by the time I got down there and got back up to look at the dock, my legs felt like they were this big. I mean, they just were totally pumped with blood from like that many steps. And so I was like totally turned off with the lake house thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna carry a 50-pound cooler from my house, 150 steps, 200 steps. And then remember, wait a minute, I forgot, I got to go back up. I forgot one thing. Now I got to go back up and repeat process. So I put my foot down and I said, I'm not going to buy a house with, you know, that many steps. So I narrowed my focus down to the impossible. The impossible of finding a house 17 steps from the house to the water. Unheard of. Doesn't hardly exist. I found it. I bought it. Now I got it for 200 grand. I put 20,000 into it. That's it. It was built in 1991. The house wasn't terrible. It was outdated. It needed carpet and paint, but that's all we did. So now the house appraised a couple of months ago for 300 grand. Well, from a couple of months ago to now, it's worth 400. Okay. So now I'm going to sell the house. So I'm going to make, you know, I'll make nearly a couple $100,000 on the deal. And I'm going to turn around and buy a new one because I actually want a bigger one anyway. This one's a 1,900 square foot, 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. I mean, it's nice and it's great. We love it. And when I told Trina, the funny thing is, when I told Trina I was going to sell it, I didn't tell her my plan. I literally said I was going to sell the lake house. She bawled her eyes out. She's like, this is my happy. I just don't want to do it. And then I let her know the rest of the plan. Like, no, we're going to buy another one. I'm going to buy a bigger one. I want 3,000 square feet, 5 to 6 bedrooms, 3-4 bathrooms. So that made her happy. So anyway, I sent out over 1,000 letters yesterday. Now those won't hit. They have to go to the printer first. Cause even though I wrote them, we take the handwritten version and convert it into a mass deal. And those will hit in like 10 days, just like any other direct mail. So about 10 days, we'll start getting phone calls and I'll buy another discounted property. I'll get another $200,000 house worth 400 or 500 grand, but it's going to take some work and some marketing. So in the process though, I'm going to get deals that I don't want to own, but I can wholesale. So you guys, this is the lesson here. You need to find the nearest lake that has lake homes and start looking seriously and doing some marketing there, because those are not going to get any less popular. So be thinking near vacation places. Like for example, for you, Hans, I know, how far are you from Wisconsin Dells?
An hour.
Okay. I freaking love Wisconsin Dells. It's one of my all-time favorite places to go. I go almost every year. This year was the first time I didn't spend 4th of July at Wisconsin Dells in years. And the only reason is because I hadn't ever spent 4th of July at my lake house, and where I'm located, the fireworks are right there. So everybody decided not to go. But I did some direct marketing in the Dells like 3 years ago, and I got massive response. All I did was send the postcard. And if I was you, I'd do a Google View. But those are going to be amazing Airbnbs. Mark my words, like that's going to be a great investment. And I think you can wholesale there. So you find those types of places that have a lake or have some type of a destination people that nearby will drive to. And there is going to be a mass exodus out of big cities. The reason why my lake house at Oak Run is so popular is because it's 2.5 hours away from Chicago, and everybody's mass leaving Chicago and they're not coming back. They want somewhere that they want out of the city. Their jobs are no longer safe. They want to work from home, and they want out of the city and somewhere that their families can go enjoy a lake, get on a boat, blah, blah, blah. My friends are all selling their lake houses. They're selling them in one day. Most of them are selling in hours for more than asking price, 50 to 100,000 more than what they're worth. So there's a real opportunity here, and most people don't realize the opportunity unless you're in it. So this is you guys' opportunity is go after some of those properties. Start doing marketing for some of those properties. I don't care if it's a lot nearby. Find out the rules. Like I was saying earlier, at my lake that I live at, as long as you own a lot, it doesn't have to be a lot on the lake. It just has to be in the HOA. If you own that lot, you have lake access. If you don't own a lot, you can't come on the lake. Like it's amazing. It's awesome. So those lots, my realtor was telling me that they've already had 80 lots change hands in the last couple months. So that is unbelievable. So if you can find that type of thing, do research, find out the niche, find out, I can't tell you that every single lake has those rules, but there's demand, and people do not, when you start selling houses for cash to people that are going to live here, these are not cash buyers in an investor sense. They are cash buyers. I'm going to live there. Somebody in Chicago that lives in $1 million house thinks nothing of dropping $400,000 or $500,000 cash on a lake house to make their family happy and give them somewhere to go. So that's not like an investor. An investor that pays cash, they do the math. It's very methodical. Okay, I got to analyze the numbers. Okay, yes, I can buy it, fix it up, and resell it, and I can sell it for this, and here's my profit. These people don't care. It won't even appraise. These houses will not appraise right now for what they're paying, but they're not getting loans, they're paying cash. So that's an opportunity. When you can make $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 more than a house is worth, you need those deals, and you need to get them to people. And the way you get them to people is the realtors. So that's where you need to do one-time showing agreements. If you get a deal under contract, contact them, drive the area. There's only like in my area, it seems like there's like 3 or 4 real estate agents that own they own the market. You drive all the houses, you see the for sale signs, it's the same 3 or 4 names. Those are the people you call. They're getting all the leads, and you get a deal on a contract. Hey, I got a deal. I'll do a one-time showing agreement. Here's my price. You do a cash deal. So those are real opportunities that you have to be taking advantage of. Now, along with that, another thing I'm seeing is houses with swimming pools are a premium right now. Again, it's not the lake effect deal. It's not as good as a lake, but a pool's a big deal. So maybe pools weren't as popular, but pre-COVID as they are now. But I'm seeing high demand for pools. And again, if you're not in it, you don't know this stuff. So be watching out for the houses with pools. It's so funny how quickly something can change. Like in my market, if you buy a house with a pool, you shove dirt in the pool and you get rid of it. Like you don't want the pool. Like nobody maintains them right. Nobody uses them. You fill them in. Now you don't do that. Now you have a pool. Like you got value there. So be watching for that stuff too. This is like little niche stuff that you can price. It's gonna sell for more than what your comps show. That's one thing to learn here. I can't teach you guys this exactly because it doesn't make any sense. Just like my lake house. 2 months ago, I got an appraisal for $300,000. It's worth $400,000 now. Will it appraise for $400,000? No. Will somebody pay cash for $400,000? Yes, there will be a line of people that will pay cash for $400,000. So you have to you have to almost disregard the comps in some, if you get the right property, and talk to real estate agents, name your price. My buddy who has a house he bought 2 years ago as well, he paid 300,000 for his. He put it on the market for 370, sold in 2 hours for cash 370, and the buyer closed and said, ha, I would have paid you 50,000 more. And this is a guy that's living there. So this same guy, this same buyer that bought my buddy's house, my buddy's like, yeah, man, I got this $120,000 ski boat. I don't know what I'm going to do. The guy's like, buys the house, says, I'll give you cash for that as well. And I saw the guy driving it from my lake house last weekend, the new buyer. So, so think about that. When a buyer laughs at you at closing and said, I would have given you 50,000 more, that's demand. If you're at my lake house, if you're standing out on your dock, hanging out, people will roll up on a boat and say, hey, excuse me, would you consider selling this house? That's the demand. One of my other buddies that's got a lake house did a joke and just put a for sale sign. He had a for sale sign. It wasn't even for a house. It was for something else. He had it in the like back of his car. He put it in the front. Got six people within the first couple hours and had to pull it down just for fun. So the demand is real. So be watching for those. Flip your marketing around. Start going after them. You might be able to make, you know, I said this from the beginning. The COVID thing it's a shortcut. Okay, it's a shortcut. You still make the same amount of money, but you make that amount of money in a lot shorter amount of time. Okay, so if you can, you know, if you guys can pop off some $50,000-$100,000 hits, how exciting is that? Like that eases some pressure really fast. So change your marketing.
Hey, Matt, a quick question on lots on the lake. How do you evaluate what those are worth? I mean, is it per what I've seen like around us, it's $6,800 to $10,000 per frontage foot is what
Yep.
it seems to be going. So
Linear,
how do you evaluate it? Is that still the same thing that you're taking that retail value and backing it off with a similar equation like we were?
yeah. So think about lakes and what people want. Okay. When I bought my lake house 2 years ago, I knew nothing about lakes. Okay. I didn't know this place is an hour from where I lived. I had never bought a house there. I know nothing about the values, what stuff's worth. I never bought a lake house. So it was all brand new to me. So somebody needs to kill their sound here. Who is that? Oh wait, Maurice, I'm shutting you down, man. Okay. So lake frontage, like mine has 180 feet of dock frontage. Okay. I knew that was cool because it looked really long. Like I knew it was neat. I didn't know what the value was. I didn't know what the linear foot per, what it was worth, but it's a big deal. So you want to look at lake frontage for sure. For me, now not every lake's going to have like big hills and stuff. And the one I'm at, you're always going to have some kind of hill because it's got to be a place where water gathers, right? But for me, steps from my house to the lake was a really big deal. And even the realtors down there are like, yeah, if you have the fewer amount of steps, the more the value is worth. So keep that in mind. If you've got a lot of steps to the water, I'm telling you, I have a pontoon. When we bought this place, we bought a pontoon boat. Okay. Now this pontoon boat's, I think it's 27 feet, which is the maximum the lake will even allow. And when I have friends over, it's not unusual for us to get 12 to 14 people on that boat. What that means is there's like and we go all day, like we're on the water all day long, 5, 6, 7 hours. We pack a lot of coolers, food and drinks and everything else. So that's a lot of trips from the house to the boat. So imagine if you've got 150, 200 steps, I mean, you do that about 3 times and you find the value real fast on what it's worth to be closer to the lake. So that's something that's important. What I found too with lake houses, they're all irregular. Like they all look different. They look like lake houses, but they're irregular houses. My house is really irregular. The whole back of it is basically underground. It's built into the back of a hill. So you don't have it. You have very few windows in the back of the house, and it's all frontage, right? It's really long house. It's long, skinny house. So but a lot of the houses, they look like they're log cabin type houses, and they're wilderness like lake houses. Like that's that's the design. People don't build normal looking houses really on lakes. They want them to be nostalgic. So it's very hard to comp. So that's my answer. I wish I could give you a better answer, but you almost need that local expert to help you. It's worth a conversation with a local expert real estate agent that's bought and sold a lot of houses. Sit down and talk to them for an hour. Get them coffee, sit down, and if they can, most of them don't have a minute to breathe. My realtor last week, at the end of the week, we met up at this little barbecue thing. Not my realtor, the realtor that I'm going to use at the lake house. We just use a separate one for that because she's the expert. She did $1 million in sales last week. So they don't have a lot of time, right? But the cool thing is that realtor has jumped onto my training, hired a VA, and did a whole bunch of marketing through Fiverr at the lake, and closed a couple of deals just by what she watched from some of the training I've done. So pretty neat. But yeah, so I get a local expert, get their advice, find out from them what's the niche, what makes properties valuable in your area. So it's going to be different everywhere you go. Like for you, Hans, I remember when I did marketing at in the Dells, I got a lot of condos, a lot of people with condos. Now there isn't a single condo the lake I'm at; they're all houses. So I noticed there's a lot of condos in some areas, which is great because those are a little easier to comp. So those wouldn't be as big of a deal, and you can probably pop them off and move them quick. So something to think about. So those are some things to be watching for you guys. I really see that as the trend, and I don't see it going away. It's part of me kind of is like, hey, should I even sell my lake house? Because could it jump another 100,000 in value? It could. It's all about demand, who knows? So I don't know. I literally, if I made a decision in my mind, if I'm going to get the exact price that I want and not 1 penny less, I don't care. I'll keep it. So, especially until I get another one locked up and I know I'm going to have a lake house to go to. So that's some stuff I wanted to cover. Now, I was talking to somebody, let's see, he's not on right now. I was talking to somebody earlier this morning, and they were complaining that they're like, yeah, Matt, it's really hard in my area. It's hard to find deals. Everything, all these wholesalers, the big wholesalers are controlling the market, and then they get a deal and they send it out, and all, these big wholesalers then do highest and best, and then they always go for, I miss every deal. Well, you can complain about that, or you can do what I did a few years ago. So what I did in the Quad Cities, so between 2009 to 2011, there was one particular wholesaler in the Quad Cities. He'd never wholesaled before me. I took him under my wing and I taught him how to do wholesaling. And next thing you know, he's wholesaling me properties. And between 2009 and 11, he wholesaled me over 100 houses. Just that one guy. And he made a lot of money off of me. And by 2012, the market was heating up. Now, 2009, 10, 11, there's no competition. I'm the only main buyer in my area. I'm buying all the houses. And that's what really put me on the map. If you guys remember my story, between that, there's about a 4-year period there where my portfolio went from like 30 houses to 450 houses. And so, but by 2012, he was cranking prices up. He was doubling and tripling his assignment fees, and they weren't really fair, in my opinion. I was like, man, I put you on the map. I've made you all this money. You're not cutting me a volume deal. So I could have complained about it. I told him my problem. He didn't care. So I did the next best thing I knew to do, supply and demand. I then went out and hired and trained an army of wholesalers in the Quad Cities. Okay. And the next thing you know, he woke up and now he's got a lot of competition and my prices are going down. Right. And eventually he went out of business. He's no longer a wholesaler because he couldn't adapt and he was trying to charge too much and he stopped doing deals. So if he would have just adjusted his prices down, he would have been fine. So, but that's a good lesson for you guys. You guys can hire an army of bird dogs, an army of wholesalers to send you deals. It's a good idea. Think about it for you. A lot of people say, I don't want the competition. Well, think about this. You control the competition. You can train more of them. If the ones you train start bringing you deals and it's amazing and all of a sudden they raise their prices, go train more. Be the buyer. You're just shuffling them off to the next guy anyway. But here's how you do it. So you create a whole bunch of people that drive for dollars. That's really what it is. So, because a lot of people will get into real estate and they won't want to do real estate because they don't have any money for marketing. So what you can do is, this is what I taught the guy this morning. What you do is you give them a specific, you could do a Zoom call. You could go on Facebook and say something as simple as, hey, if you're interested in learning real estate, but you don't know where to get started, I'm doing a free training on how to find deals nobody else can find. There's literally no cost, no hook. In fact, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to give back and do training on how to find real estate deals that nobody else can find. If you're in the whatever area and you want to learn, jump on. It's this time, do a Zoom call. And then you get people on there and you literally teach them how to drive for dollars. You say, okay, hey, I want to teach you guys how to find good deals. It's really this simple. It takes work, takes effort. You're going to have to run the roads, but you can make some money. What do you want? So you teach them how to look for houses that have overgrown grass, weeds growing out of the gutters, boarded up windows or broken windows, tall weeds, all overgrown, siding falling off, paint peeling, roof curling. Teach them, paint the picture of what it is that they should be looking for. Have photos that you maybe create a little PowerPoint presentation, have photos of what they should be looking for, and go out and find them. When you get there, what I would recommend is, I think we've taught everybody, and this is in a freebie Friday. I did all this for you guys. Actually, I didn't do it. Tyler did it. But you could have a web form. You could have them. There's software you can buy. You can buy the Deal Machine stuff for driving for dollars, and I'm sure it's amazing. But it's why spend a bunch of money when I can show you how to do it for free? And not only this, you guys, this also makes it so the deal comes right to you. It's like a little trick. But if you can give them a web form that will, when they fill out the web form and hit submit, pops the deal right in your Podio. So they get to the address and you say, hey, fill out the web form when you get there, punch in the address and take a picture of the front of the house. And as soon as they hit submit, boom, it pops into your Podio. Now you have a new lead. And then what you can do is you can tell them, you can say, there's two ways to do this. So there's a lot of rules and stuff when it comes to bird dogging. There's a lot of rules. You can't, in most states, now I'm not an attorney, you guys need to look this up yourself. A simple Google search could tell you the answer. But if you can't really pay a referral fee on a bird dog deal, because that's like taking a commission and you have to be licensed. And if you're licensed, do it. It's no problem. You're not breaking any rules. But if you're not, if they have to be licensed as well. But if you're not, some people say, well, do a marketing fee. And you could do that. You could probably skate the rules and do a marketing fee. But you could also do this, and this will lock down the deal. And nobody teaches this stuff. You could partner with them on it. You could just say, I'm going to be your partner. I'm going to close this deal with you. You're not going to get, I'm only giving you $500 per deal we close, but I'm going to make you a partner. Now they've got equity of $500 in value. That's totally legal. You can have as many partners as you want. Boom, you close the deal. They make a check for $500. Okay. So if they don't close anything and they don't send in anything and they send you crap, then you don't close anything. It doesn't cost you anything. So you can literally teach them what to look for, partner with them on the deal. If they pop that deal into you through the web form, into your Podio, now you have a thing where, you can put, all right, fill out the address, your name, send a picture of the front, whatever, it pops right in. You have it tracked. You know where the lead came from. So, when you close it, you give them, you pay them their equity. So that's one way you can, bring in tons of deals. Now what I'm doing, and I don't know why I didn't think about this, but literally I'm having this conversation. I'm teaching. I did this whole create an army of wholesalers in 2012, and a lot of them are still around, still selling me deals. But I literally, I'm teaching this guy this. I'm like, you could have an army of bird dogs sending you deals. And I was thinking, I got 15 company vehicles. And I got another 5 people on top of that I pay mileage to. Why don't I give them all an iPad? Why don't I give them the web form and make it a requirement that every single day they're required to send me one deal? That's part of their job. I'm paying them hourly anyway. So that just becomes a function of their job. That would give me a 20 new leads a day, 100 new leads a week. So I literally wrote out the whole business plan on this piece of paper this morning when I thought about it, 2-sided. I'm going to hand this to Amanda. She'll make a PowerPoint. I'll do a Zoom call with all of my people that have company vehicles that are driving around with pictures and everything on how what it's going to be and how to fill out the web form. And just make it a daily requirement. Boom, I got 20 new leads a day. It's 100 new a week. And now I got 400 new leads a month. I don't know how many deals that will create, but I'm guessing it'll create another 10 to 15 easy deals per month. Easy. So for whatever reason, I've been brain dead for the last 2 years since I've had 2 or 3 years since I've had company vehicles and never thought of that. But in the process of teaching him, it literally reminded me of something I did, 8 years ago. Now, what you guys can do, you can do the bird dog thing, teach people, find them from Facebook or whatever, but also be thinking about, so I know some of you guys have some employees and, I don't know exactly to what extent, but you could do the same thing with them. You could do, Uber drivers are almost extinct now. I noticed, I literally Tyler sold his car today, and I'm like, how are you going to get home? I'm like, you can't Uber because there's no Uber drivers. I don't know where you guys are at, but I mean, Uber's almost gone now. Maybe in some of the other areas it's not, but here in the Quad Cities, it's almost disappeared. And so, but I had a buddy that did Uber driving at night for a while. And he was, what he was doing is really pretty smart. He was wholesaling deals while he's getting paid to drive around. So in between each ride, or if he'd drive by a house dropping somebody off, in between each ride, he would go find houses, and he was wholesaling properties this way. So the Uber thing, he was making a couple $100 a night, but he was popping a deal or so a week from just driving around part-time. So so that's something else too, that if you ever, that's not a bad idea. If you're in an Uber, have a business card, because those people are driving around anyway. Maybe you could turn them into a bird dog. Hey, if you find a deal, here's what I'm looking for. Maybe have a quick little sheet on it. Here's what I'm looking for, or here's my business card. Send me an email. I'll teach you how to make money, finding me houses I can buy. Then you partner on them, with them on it. The deal, close it. They make $500.
Do you ever pay them cash on closing?
No.
Okay.
It's actually illegal. You can't pay anybody outside of the actual transaction.
Okay.
You have to run it right through the HUD.
All right.
So, but like I said, you could partner with them, and you don't have to have them as part of your LLC. Two entities can buy or sell a house, right? You don't have to have, we got to own an LLC together. You don't have to do that. You just work it out with your title company. Say, hey, we did this deal together. And this guy gets, he owns $500 in equity of the property.
Right.
So
and if they don't have an LLC, you just pay
their personal name.
Okay.
When I got into real estate, I didn't have the money to build an LLC. So I just did deals on my personal name for the first few, 5 or 6. I don't remember. I probably did maybe 5 or 6 in my own personal name. So, and I'm not recommending that, but I'm saying it is, if you don't have any money anyway, what's the purpose of an LLC, right? That's asset protection, right? Well, if you don't have any assets, what does it matter? You know what I mean? So, So anyway, that's something that you guys should be working on in this competitive market. You want to get an advantage, it's always one to many. Anytime I'm doing something, I try to figure out the one to many strategy. Okay. The more work you give, you can take a whole pile of work and give it to one person and they're going to struggle and strain to get it done. Or you can divvy up that work amongst a lot of people, and every person does just a little bit, and the overall outcome is a lot gets done. So so that's something to think about. The next thing is get really good in this competitive market. Get really good at filtering deals quickly. I see too many people wasting way too much time on deals that, I know I've done a lot of deals, so I can see this stuff with eyes other people can't, but you can teach your eyes. But I see a deal, I know in 5 seconds or less, maybe 3 seconds, whether it's a deal or not. I just know. In my area, I bought 4,000 houses. So, I know it takes time when you're first learning this and you learn how to run comps and everything else, but learn how to filter them quickly. Get a VA to help you do comps. That's one thing that Robbie wanted his VA to be able to do, was to be able to run comps. No problem. We teach them how to run comps. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be an expert at it the first day. There's going to be a learning curve to it, but when's the best time to learn comps? Well, the best time is 15 years ago. The second best time is right now, right? So you just get started, you learn. So get good at filtering deals quickly. If you got this many leads coming in, you need to get rid of the ones that don't make sense, that are never going to happen. If somebody owes $100,000 on a house that's worth 110, don't spend any more time working on that house. Nothing's going to happen with it unless there's a creative option that you could do with that house. Which leads me into my next thing is, don't just swing at fastballs. One of my favorite movies of all time was Major League. And, they're at baseball camp before the season starts. They're doing batting practice. Everybody's swinging, missing, striking out. Nobody can hit anything. Well, all of a sudden this big guy gets up there, Serrano, and he's cranking them out. Like, he's every single pitch is home run, hitting the stands, hitting the scoreboard, like out. And all of a sudden these coaches are like, why is this guy playing for us? This guy can hit a ton. And one of the coach yells at the pitchers, hey, throw a changeup. And the guy throws it and he strikes out. He can't hit. Only thing he can swing at is a fastball. Well, you don't want your real estate business to work like that either. So, I don't do a lot of lease options, but in the beginning, when I didn't have ability to get loans, or I didn't have the ability to, I really didn't have, when I first started, wholesaling was not first of all, I didn't know wholesaling right out of the gate. And not a lot of people did it back then, because in 05, 06, if you wanted to buy a house, you just went to the bank and they gave you the money, right? Except for me, I didn't know how to do that in the beginning. So I worked a lot of creative deals and did a lot of lease option deals. And so don't there's deals to be had sometimes with those types of deals. You can put a house under contract to lease option it and then sell it a week later. There's nothing that says you have to keep it the whole time. You can sell your option to that house. Like, maybe there's a skinny deal that doesn't make enough sense to do as a normal wholesale deal, but you might be able to buy yourself some more time by taking it on as a lease option. And then, if it takes you a few extra weeks or a month to get rid of it, maybe that's a good deal for you. If you're into it without putting any money down, what's it matter, right? If you've got some equity there, and there's a guy that's a friend of mine, all he does is lease options. That's it. That's his only move. He doesn't want to do, he'll buy a house that has negative equity. If it will cash flow, he doesn't care about the equity. If it cash flows, he buys it, and he just does lease options. One of my favorite lines that I learned myself just out of determination was, when I'm talking to a seller, if I give them an offer and they're like, nope, can't take it. Can't take that price, can't get there. Can't make it work. I owe too much. My next question is, well, what are you going to do if it doesn't sell then? Well, probably just rent it out. Then that's my move. That's my move into as soon as they say I'll rent it out. Nope. Okay. Well, what do you think you could get for rent? Well, I might be able to get 700. I'm thinking in my mind, I can get 900. Hey, I rent this thing from you. I'll buy it on a rent to own. That's how I work my way into a lot of those lease option deals. What are you going to do if it doesn't sell? Well, I'd rent it out. Okay. Well, how much you can get for rent? I'll rent from you. I'll do a rent to own. Then I work that in, get it under contract. I was listing houses on the MLS that were lease options. I didn't even own them. And I was selling and flipping them because I had the rights to the contract. So I would go in and do these houses that were like pretty decent shape, but needed a little bit. A lot of times it's just the little things these houses need. If they're in good, decent condition, I'd lease option them, put no money down, take over payments and fix up the things that they needed in like 3 days, list it and sell it, and make 20 grand. That was my move for a while. So that's something that you guys can kind of keep, on those skinny deals. Maybe that's the move. What I've found is a lot of sellers don't even know what the current rental market is. The rent they would get is less than what I could get because I know how to market. So if they're at 700 and I'm at 900, boom, I got an instant $200 a month cash flow. Right there, right out the gate. Okay. Analyze deals. In these competitive markets, you gotta get good at analyzing the deals. Don't overpay for a property, but also don't underpay, right? I mean, you can't expect to hit a home run. And I see a lot of new wholesalers. They want to hit a home run every single at bat, and that's just not realistic. You make your money on the little skinny deals. There's a lot, guys, I'm telling you, I've done so many deals in my career, probably 1,000, literally, where I made between $5,000 and $10,000 in wholesale fees. That's my bread and butter right there. Now, of course, I love hitting $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 deals. Of course, those are the ones I tell everybody about. But you know how many deals I've done? 5, 6, 7, 8,000? Tons and tons and tons. So a lot of times you're trying to make too much, or you're trying to offer too low of a price. You want to hit a home run. In reality, if you just paid them a little bit more, you could squeeze out a $5,000 or $7,000 wholesale deal, and that's a win. That's a hit, right? It's not a home run. It's a hit. That pays the bills. You're going to do a hell of a lot more of those than $50,000 deals. I'm just telling you guys, that's how this business works. It's 5,000, 6,000, 5,000, 3,000, 8,000, 9,000, 6,000, 3,000, boom, 30,000. That's how it works. That's how the game is played. So make sure that you don't underpay. Now, make offers. Make the offer. If you don't think they'll take it, make it anyway. And then if you have to, adjust up and put the thing under contract. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not telling you guys to mislead sellers. Like, don't be ridiculous about this. If you know that you can make money on the deal at 200 grand and you offer them 250 and think, well, I'll put it under contract and then I'll beat them up $50,000. That ain't happening, right? In my market, in $100,000 houses, I know for a fact, for sure, no matter what, if I get a house under contract, I can always talk them down another $3,000 to $5,000, and I'm going to hit 90% of those are going to take it. If I do an inspection on the house and it's in worse shape than what we thought, I can talk them down another $3,000 to $5,000 always, 90% of the time. Now, if I go over $5,000, it starts to drop quickly. If I get to 7,000, maybe only 50% of the people will take that reduction. If I get to 10,000 plus, probably like 5 to 10% of the people will take it. They're not gonna take your contract. But at least you get it under contract, and you get a chance to look at the numbers and see if this thing will work. If you got a tight deal, don't be afraid to do that, especially if you're trying to get momentum. And those little $5,000 hits pays for your marketing, right? If you send out a bunch of cold calls, a bunch of direct mail, and all this stuff, and you get a bunch of leads back in, and you're like, well, I could make maybe 3,000 on that one and 2,000 on that one. well, do it, because that pays for your marketing. How much marketing can you do if you have unlimited budget, right? You get all the deals. The reason I can market so much and send out so much direct mail and cold calls and texting and all that I do is because I'm making enough money to pay for that every month. If I was going negative, I wouldn't do it. So if you can get to the point where at least when you send out marketing, you can wholesale your way back in to get your money back, then you can do unlimited marketing. And you're going to follow up with leads. You're going to pile in your CRM or Podio, whatever you're using. You're going to pile leads in. You're going to follow up, and you're going to get a lot of those deals later. We're trying, like, we're going to have one hell of a week this week. I think we're going to put between 8 and 11 houses under contract. And some of those have just been follow-up deals. All right, let's see. What do I got here? Use your contract outs, right? You've got contingencies in your contract. Don't be afraid to use them. Okay, that's what it's for. I'm not telling you to tie up a house with a seller with a 90-day inspection period. Don't be that person. But 14 days doesn't hurt anybody. If somebody complains about that, that's their problem. So, Mr. Seller, you've owned this house for 20 years, and you're mad at me for tying you up for 14 days. I'm sorry. It's your problem. I have a legal right. We agreed to the 14 days. If you have a problem with me at that point, we weren't meant to be anyway. That's my response. Okay. So, I mean, that's basically what I wanted. We're kind of getting towards the end there. We can do some Q&A. But that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys today. You know, that's how I do, that's how we run our business. Does that help you guys? Is that good?
Yeah.
When
What
you're
questions
coming,
you guys have?
I got a question. On your so when you go and let's just say you had the house under 70, you inspected it, and now you want to move your number to 65 or something. Are you doing an amendment to the contract, or are you just re-signing the new purchase agreement?
No, you just amend it.
Okay.
Yep.
And where do you find that amendment, or how do you do that?
No, you can just cross the price out, write the new price next to it, initial next to that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then my second question would be on that cash buyer thing we were talking about last week. Is that something I could find in the files then, or is that still Amanda?
Did you get that?
I haven't yet. I looked under our
no,
files.
we had. Oh, you know what? I have. I reminded Tyler today. I'm glad you just said something. You know what? It's done. It's good to go. I had to modify it for you guys to make it work for you because it was kind of set up for me. Do all you guys on here have Virtually Unemployed 2.0?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Is everybody here?
I have
Yes.
the first one.
What's that?
I got your first one. I
Okay.
didn't get the one with the video.
Okay, so what I did, so Aaliyah, I'll make sure you get this. But everybody else that has Virtually Unemployed 2.0, Hans, to answer your question, it's getting automatically updated in there, and you're going to get a message that it's there.
Okay, so that's
So
where you
any of you guys that got the 2.0, every time we update, I'm going to automatically add that for free, no cost. Okay, Aaliyah, I'll make sure you get it too since you don't have it. But we're updating so you guys see how amazing is the format that we have that 2.0 set up where you can just scroll down and go right. It's awesome, right?
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's awesome. So what we'll do every time we add something, you guys will get an email. Hey, boom, look what you got. Now it's in there. Tyler was supposed to have that today, but he's been running around like crazy trying to get this car sold with this guy that came from out of town. So I'll remind him, and it's there. It's done. It's good to go. All set up, all turnkey, all system out.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
So I'll just remind him to get that into you. What else? Any other questions?
Hey man, I got a question.
Yep.
So what would determine a hot market? How you come across hot markets? Like,
What's that? Say that
you
again.
constantly searching. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just didn't understand the question.
Okay. So yeah, how are your team is determining hot markets? Like, are you guys searching for this, or is something that you come across, or you hear? like,
Everything's
hey,
hot.
This market's
Every market's hot right now.
even before pre-COVID. So when searching for hot markets, like,
Well, what we've always done is, let's say we're going into a new area that we don't really know. We would get a hold of a local real estate agent. We would call a local real estate agent and ask them to share with us what in that area, which zip code has the most transactions, buy and sell transactions. That's how we would do it.
even so, what would even get you to the point of determining to like, hey, let's look in this area? Is it other investors telling you that,
No.
hey, this market's hot, we're making,
No. I just do my own research.
okay.
Yeah, I don't listen to what Zillow reports come out with, Realtor.com, other people, MSN Money. I don't all that's BS. All that is all paid for marketing. It's all crap. I do my own thing. If I spend time looking at markets, I just do my own research.
Okay.
Yep.
Right,
All
if I
that
may,
stuff's
can
paid
I-
for it. You guys realize I could write a check to Yahoo Finance for $2,000. This is how it works, guys. I could write a check for Yahoo Finance for $2,000, and they would have me on their front page, and that I'm the greatest real estate investor who ever lived. I get to write my own narrative, and I'm the guy. That's how it works. You write a check, it's there. That's how the media works. And I have a guy that's constantly getting a hold of me that's like, man, I can put you on the front page of Yahoo or whatever you want. Just this one's $2,000, this one's $5,000. I'm like, dude, no, I don't need that. So Olia, what was your question?
Oh, actually, I wanted to add something, Ray. I have a real estate license in Seattle, so what I see matters a lot to people is school districts.
Yes.
So in the same area, you'll see people ripping each other's throats out for school districts, because if you don't have a good school district, then if you want to get to go to good school, you have to pay a lot more for private school. So school districts is something to look at for sure.
Yes, school district is definitely something. When you comp a house, when you run comps, you want to make sure you're comping against the same school district. Where I live in Bettendorf, Iowa. It's one of the nicest school districts in all of the state of Iowa, but there's a nicer one. And where I live in the nicest neighborhood in Bettendorf, but literally across the street is Pleasant Valley. And that's an even better, that's ranked #1 in the whole state of Iowa. So we have to open enroll to try to get Aubrey in Pleasant Valley. And it was already this year, it was already, filled. Couldn't. So school district is a big deal.
What other out clauses do you have in your contracts other than the 14-day inspection period?
We do a 14-day inspection. I do a termite inspection, and I do a sewer line inspection. That's it. That's all I do. In my 14-day inspection is whatever I decide it is. It's my own due diligence period. Okay. So you can do a 14-day due diligence period, whatever you want. You're going to use whatever contracts, you want. You can decide. If there's a lot of realtor contracts out there, if you're buying houses off the MLS, and the realtors try to pigeonhole you into using, into saying, hey, if you do an inspection, it's got to be only this inspection, and you can't decide you don't want the house if the numbers don't work. That's why we do our own contract. Now, if you're buying on the MLS, you have to use the state contract. But when you're buying from somebody down the street, you can use whatever you want.
I have a last question about just the current market. So, as they're trying to hit vacant absentee owners, but with the whole rent, you can't evict right now. There's a lot more people that are stuck in the house and they have no place to go or no place to move into. So my question is, these tired landlords, when you're trying to buy these properties and they say, well, yeah, you can make me an offer, you come, but there's no place to take, you can't evict, or they have no place to move them. What are you doing in those situations?
I just got hit with a deal like that yesterday by a new wholesaler, and I just said, "Listen, man, I got to have the house at 10,000 less, because it's what it's going to cost me to get rid of this guy, And then if I get it for 10,000 less, I take 2,500 of that and go knock on the door and say, hey, I'll give you, if you can be out by the weekend, I'll give you $2,500 in cash, But then you still got a little bit left over in case it doesn't work,
Right.
The last one the last deal I bought, where we always make sure they're vacant. Right now it's really hard because of COVID, and Illinois side's really bad. Iowa, we can evict. Illinois, you can't yet. They just extended it to August 22nd. But I spent $5,000 getting the tenant out last time. Now, the cool thing was I made sure I was covered, and I set up the contract. I held back 75. The seller was like, no, you can get this tenant out. It'll never cost you that much. You're exaggerating. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's hold back 7,500. Then if it's not needed and we don't use it in attorney's fees to evict, you can have all that money back. Deal? Yep, no problem. So we did it. We used almost all the money. So, Tara, do you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback on to something you said in the beginning of the class, that when you were talking about lake houses,
Mm-hmm.
and basically the same thing is going on with luxury properties, because these people that are buying these luxury properties are not leaving the United States to go on vacation anytime soon. So, places like Newport and, the surrounding areas, other affluent towns around Newport, Rhode Island, are just on fire. They're just, it's crazy. And then the other thing, I don't know, I just know here that if a house doesn't appraise, unless you're paying cash, if the house doesn't appraise, there's really nothing you can do. So that's the only way to get a house sold. If it's not going to appraise, the owner, the buyer has to pay cash.
Yep, has to pay cash or pay the difference.
Right.
If a house appraises at 500 grand and you're selling it for 600 grand, you got either they walk away or they pay the $100,000 difference. So
good information. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Everybody good?
Just one quick question. When you're wholesaling apartments, are you letting people see them, or how are you getting around that? Everybody seems to want to see them, but it's hard to show in this day and age. We can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little trickier right now, but I mean, you basically have to get in these units. So most of these apartment sellers get kind of the game, and they're like, hey, you're an insurance guy today. You're doing an insurance inspection when we walk through with all my tenants. So you have to get in. You can't buy an apartment building and not know what's going on. So
all right. How are you getting? Say I got 20 people interested in this one apartment building, but I can show it, maybe once or twice. Do you just try to?
You can't keep showing it.
Yeah.
First thing you do, Dave, is okay. This deal is $1 million in cash. So first thing I do is I weed out all the people that can't prove the money. Hey, how are you buying this house, or how are you buying this apartment building? Well, I'm going to pay cash. Okay. Are you paying cash, like cash out of your bank account? Are you using stock? Are you cashing out stocks? Are you borrowing hard money? You got a line of credit. How are you using the cash? Well, I got a line of credit. Okay. Send me the statement showing me you have the line of credit that's $1 million.
Gotcha.
That narrows out, that gets rid of, 75% of the people. Now you're down to the 25% and they're legit. So then you say okay, here's the numbers. Here, and you can do this with houses too right now, everybody. Here are the numbers. If do these numbers work? If everything I've represented this property is, if all of these numbers, I've showed you some pictures of the property, do the numbers work? Because if the numbers work and we walk through, you're ready to close, right? Like you're putting pressure on them. Yes, I like the deal. The numbers work. As long as this thing ain't falling over, I'm good. Okay, great. And you can get them to commit that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, the POF will help at least.
By the way, when somebody says I'm using hard money, I say, who's your hard money guy? Give me his phone number, because I'm calling him. I call him up. I've found a lot of people fake it. I call up the guy. Hey, I'm working with this guy named Chris, and he says you're lending him the money for the deal, and I just wanted to get. Well, we haven't finalized anything. You know, we've talked to him, but you know, no, it's not solid. It's not in stone. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know that.
Gotcha.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. You guys good?
I have a
We are
question.
good.
Oh,
I have a question.
Olivia's got, okay, go ahead.
I was thinking, with everything that's been happening in Seattle, we had a lot of buildings, they got destroyed, looted, and vandalized. Does commercial property work the same way for wholesaling as private?
Yeah, but
I mean,
I wouldn't touch that right now.
no? Yeah, I was gonna
No.
ask that.
It's so questionable. I'm afraid you'd waste a lot of time on it.
Yeah, okay.
So, all right. Anybody
I wa-
else?
Yeah, I wanted to add some stuff, Matt.
Yeah.
That's been working for me.
Let's hear it.
I've been spending a lot of time on Craigslist,
Mm-hmm.
and what's been working for me the last couple of weeks, I've been going in the for rent section
Mm-hmm.
and going 10 days, like property's been listed for 10 days plus. I've been getting a lot of good feedback, and I actually locked up 2 properties this week just off of Craigslist
Nice.
alone for
I love
rent.
it.
Oh, cool.
So you guys should try that out. It's been working for
Yeah.
me. So
Well, not only that, but you can have a VA do that for you too.
exactly. I actually I got it from the 2.0.
Nice.
So that's why I started really spending a lot of time on Craigslist and Zillow.
Yep. That's something that that a VA can do for you and knock out for you. I love it. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing that, Maurice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Matt,
All right, guys. I think
your
I'm gonna go.
VAs, your
Yeah.
VAs that you say that you're training, where can you find the cost of that or that process, or is
I'll send it out to everybody.
sounds good?
All right. I think it's steak time for me, you guys. I'm gonna go cook some T-bone.
Enjoy.
All
That
right.
sounds so good.
All right. Well, hey, if you guys, I enjoyed. I hope you got a lot out of this, and
Yeah.
we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
Cool,
Thanks,
thank
Matt.
you. Bye.
All right.
Weekend,
Thanks, Matt.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right.
Bye.